call the meeting of the Spokane Public Library Board of Trustees for May 17, 2022. Order. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. This building sits on the traditional homelands of the four bands of the Spokane tribe of Indians. Upper band, middle band, lower band, and Shawila band. Since time immemorial, the Spokane tribe of Indians has lived and cared for the grounds, identifying themselves as flesh eater. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We show gratitude to the land, river, and peoples who have been fishing, hunting, harvesting, and gathering here for generations. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship of the people of the Spokane tribe and to all those who share this land. All right, we have a list for visitors to sign up for public comment. Yeah,
in the back.
on the back. And are there any proposed agenda changes? All right, then we will start with approval of the April 2022 board minutes.
I move that we approve the April 2022 board minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And now we move to approval of the April 2022 bills of contribution.
And we approve the bills and contribution in the amount of $2,273,533.24.
I second that.
All right, if it's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and now we're ready for the financial report, Nicole.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so for the library operations for April 2022, we did have for our cash and investments trend, we closed April with enough cash investments to cover 142 days of operating costs. Our cash and investment balance, which does include the reserve for capital and net of encumbrances, is $5,171,731. And then for our expenditure trend, as of April year to date, we've utilized and encumbered 26% of our annual expenditure budget. April total expenditures were $686,820, and 77% of that amount was for personnel costs. Also, we spent $1,520 on books and materials costs, $1,600 was for internet install, and $17,095 for interfund costs, which do include charges. And for business office news, just as an update, we are in the thick of moving this week, as I mentioned in last month's board meeting. We have been working really closely with facilities on that process. Our office location is in central, third floor, communications team, and we're just loving it so far. But we're still have a lot of backup of boxes. Still kind of getting organized, but it's very exciting. We're very happy to see faces again. So, I would like to open now for any questions before I pass over to Penny with the bond.
Thank you, Nicole. Penny, you're up.
All right, thank you. I just want to lead off with a contract amendment. This is for Hill International, and that was executed under the special authority. And it was reviewed and approved by Mike Piccolo. This amendment is in the amount not to exceed $242,000, brings the contract to $2.3 million. And a reminder that Hill invoices for time that their staff works on our jobs. So very much like an attorney or a CPA. And Central and FF&E have consumed quite a bit of their resources. So we looked at this amendment, and Hill expects for this to take us through the closeout of all the projects. There was budget capacity in consulting services and other capitalized costs that we were able to fund that with. So any questions for me on that? Okay. I want to thank the board for last month. The board granted final acceptance of the Shadle Park renovation project. And it was to be effective on the date Elle and I approved the last affidavit. And the very next morning, Elle and I approved that. And we were able to pay Garco and file notice of completion with the state. And had that not happened, we would have been delayed until this meeting today. So thank you so much for taking care of our partners the way you did. And just since we're talking about completion, I thought it was a good time to talk about public works projects in general, specifically the minor public works jobs and our furniture packages. So they're not purchased under a contract that contains very strict criteria for closing. Instead, we issue a purchase order for those jobs. And the dollar of the jobs dictate what public works requirements come into play. So regardless of dollar amount, though, the intent to pay prevailing wages, certified payrolls, and affidavits, those have to be filed for any job that's a public works job, regardless of dollar amount. But if the job is less than $35,000, we don't have to file the notice of completion process. We're allowed to go ahead and pay the contractor once the job is complete and the LNI has approved the last affidavit. If a job is more than $35,000, I prepare an internal memorandum for Andrew, and I recommend to Andrew that we accept the job. Once he signs, then I file notice of completion with the state. And once the 3 letters are received, the release letters are received, then we can pay the retainage or release the retainage bond, whichever applies. Right now I have 23 open public works projects. I have 5 that are in the closing process and only 1 that has actually closed. So we're in the throes of a lot of paperwork on my desk regarding these jobs. I do have a grid on page 2 of my report. I just thought it was interesting on these 5 jobs that are in closing. If you notice when I filed NOC, the dates and how long it's taking to get our release letters from the state. I'm told part of that is staffing, training, and COVID carryover at the state level. And some of it has to do with responsiveness from the contractor when they reply to Department of Revenue on the reconciliation of sales tax. So that's kind of a high level snapshot of public works projects. And that's the close of my report unless you have questions.
Questions for Penny? All right, thank you, Penny.
Thank you.
Now, do we have a project update? Matt?
Thank you. Yeah, lots, as Penny said, lots of closeout going on. We're still closing out Liberty and Hive. Quite a few things we're waiting to come in so they can be installed. Downtown is we're still doing construction and we're doing closeout now. So there's a little bit of both going on, a lot of punch list back checking going on, a lot of casework being installed right now. We're getting FF&E deliveries are kind of tapering off, but they're still trickling in. There's still some work done on the exterior. So there's still quite a bit going on. Quite a few of the departments have moved in already. Indian Trail and South Hill, those are the projects that are got most of their under slab work complete, and now they're working on mechanical, plumbing, and electrical rough-in above grade, and a bunch of miscellaneous work. So those 2 projects are in full swing and should be complete by the end of the year. Any questions for me on progress?
All right, thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, and now the chairman's report is the next item, and there isn't a chairman's report. So then we have the library executive director report.
Thank you, Laura. A couple of highlights. I did submit my written report. Mark Pond, Eva Silverstone, and I presented at the Washington Library Association conference 2 weeks ago. Mark shared his expertise in business services with his counterpart from the Seattle Public Library. And our other presentation was on the Hive. It was actually a recorded presentation, so we're sort of still in that hybrid model. Folks could answer or ask questions via the conference app, but everything was recorded and got the feedback for the program I'll be heading out to Sacramento in 2 weeks to give a similar presentation to the California Library Association as well. Along those lines, the Hive did win a commendation for social responsibility from the American Institute of Architects in the San Francisco area. So you'll recall Group 4 is from San Francisco, so that's why it was qualified for something that's out of state. But it just goes to show the high level of quality of that facility. San Francisco is not an easy market to compete in for awards, so we're really proud to get that commendation. And it's really not just about the architecture, but around the programming and the community outreach as well, which is what that award is framed around. So hats off to SPO for getting that one. We may have another award coming in June. We can't announce it yet, but look forward to that announcement soon. As far as diversity, equity, and inclusion, I also attended the DEI symposium held by the State Library while I was at the conference. And that was for directors to help advise the State Library on next steps forward for any sort of statewide initiative that they might be doing. And we're currently internally at Spokane Public Library, we're setting dates for our next training on racial equity. And we'll hold our book discussions this month on This Chair Rocks, a manifesto against ageism. So again, increasing our knowledge around diverse populations. In-person events continue. It's great to see these happening. The story times, I was here last week. We had over 50 kiddos here just at the Shadle Library. And we've got a couple of upcoming events here actually at Shadle on the 20th and 21st, Authentic Indian Yoga. This is one of our AAM HPI Heritage Month events. And another How to Have Conversations About Race with Children is another event that we're having here at the Shadle Library. And Liberty Park actually hosted their first art exhibit. So we're starting to see the community get out more and our partners. This featured winning submissions by students from Spokane Public Schools on the Holocaust. And a real diverse mediums are part of this, from stained glass to drawings to paintings. I do encourage you to check it out if you have not yet. As far as staffing goes, I want to congratulate our Stars of the Month. It's a team award for the STA Central team that really, with short notice, did a heck of a lot of work in moving the collection from the transit center to, and there's one of our winners right there, Ashley. The whole team, Ashley Locke, Ashley Reese, Allison Gardner, Colleen Cashone, Judy Knack, Jackie Reese, and Sophie Strom really worked together and made that scene. I know it wasn't, but seem effortless. Walked in on a Monday afternoon and just really amazed at how much work was already done. We are also welcoming new staff as part of our hiring efforts. Our social services manager, Bataya Streeter, started yesterday. Paulina Carbajal will be joining the Liberty Park team. She has previous experience working in libraries in the Las Vegas area. And Shane Sponkler also is joining our facilities team, I believe actually yesterday as well. We still have some open positions that we're hiring for, and Alan is on track to get us fully staffed and ready for the central opening. I think, as Matt might have alluded to, we're continuing to see back-ordered furniture come into the branches. An example of that would be the new paperback spinners that we have. You can see them in the corner over there as you're walking in. So really, every day is like a new birthday present arriving or a late birthday present arriving, and us adjusting to the new functionality. So, and our big focus right now is on Central. July 11th is that date we're sticking with. So please mark your calendar. Nathan did agree to give the opening remarks. So thank you to Nathan. July 11th. Should be a great event. We're planning on an all-day event with different programs happening throughout. And finally, public art pieces. Jasmine Brown's piece at the park right in the back of us, that's been installed. I encourage you to check that out. It's a really kind of a cool partnership with Spokane Arts and the community school. The community school students who, one of my kiddos does go there, they got to watch the installation. So we were able to turn it into a learning event for the community as well. And the public art site central is also up. So we're going to be working on getting some part markers for those pieces and wrap that piece up. And then we'll be doing a push for a call for artists for those small works at South Hill and Indian Trail. Any questions for me?
I have a question. The social services manager, is that the social worker position that we hired?
Yeah, so this will be the social, so they're working with the Eastern Washington grad students, and they'll be helping to navigate folks to different resources and information. So we hope that gets some legs soon and gets to make a difference with central locals.
All right, any other questions for Andrew? Okay, thank you, Andrew. And now we have the council liaison report.
I thought Councilman Bingle would be on right now. This is his legislative assistant, Nick Ledopoltree. And it looks like he's not on the call. He takes care of his young child on Tuesdays, and so he might be having a toddler emergency right now. But so a lot of things are going on with City Council. If you want me to give the update, I can. Otherwise, you guys can pass. It's up to you guys.
Sure, we'd be happy to take an update.
So there are a lot of things going on at City Council. We're still pushing through a lot of these ARPA funds, getting RFPs up and going. Councilman Bingle and I are on a committee with Chief Schaefer, standing up basically mobile medical clinics that will be able to basically service individuals where they're at with respect to folks experiencing homelessness. As many of you may know, that during the winter months especially, individuals may experience things like frostbite, and being able to care for that before it becomes an amputation is a really important kind of thing. Also, some individuals, we went down, for example, to a location near the river, and we really had to go down into near where some of these camps were to even see the people experiencing homelessness. And we were guided by a tour guide of somebody who does a lot of outreach with them in the first place. And it was really kind of a sombering experience when I thought that the gentleman was wearing black gloves, but his hands were just that black. And he was in immediate need of medical care. And so this kind of mobile clinic will help these individuals access services, and also be not only like emergency services that individuals may need for medical reasons, but also connect them to other kinds of resources that they may not know are available. And so that's one of the ARPA funded allocations that we're now working on an RFP for. There was one with childcare recently too, that was just 1.5 million. Now it's going to be 3.5 million for childcare. Several other ones with respect to housing are going through. The pre-apprenticeship one that we approved at the beginning of the year, the RFP is about to go out for that. You may also have seen that we had to restart the RFP process for proposed shelter on Trent. And so they should be getting all the RFPs in for review very shortly. Those will be reviewed, and then operator will be selected. We've been meeting with businesses and various stakeholders to discuss the impacts it's going to have on the neighborhood and the businesses themselves, the individuals experiencing homelessness, to make sure that all of those efforts are not in vain. Last night, City Council passed an interim zoning ordinance that will allow for shelters to be in heavy industrial areas. This had previously not passed council, and it took a great effort to get council members all on board with this vision so we could take this very necessary first step. One thing I think is kind of miraculous with this is that there's been a lot of miscommunication between the administration and council about a lot of these efforts. And we really saw a really kind of robust turnaround and effort to foster better communication and I think it was a really good sign that Councilwoman Wilkerson and Council Member Zapone decided to bring the zoning ordinance back to the table so that we can try to take some steps forward. And yeah, those are like the main things that are on our radar. And so I don't know if you guys have any questions about some of the things that have been happening over the last couple of weeks or months, but
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay, and now we're ready for the communications report.
Sure. I'm gonna get up and stand over here so you're on.
You block me.
So I just have a few highlights for the month to share with you. Summer reading begins in 2 weeks. Can't believe it's already summer reading time. Skylar's going to share a lot about that later on in this session, but I just wanted to make sure to note in a little prologue of what she's going to talk about how rewarding this collaboration has been. And these are last year's, so as examples that Skylar will give you a sneak peek of next year's. But the collaboration with the youth services team has been really rewarding, and Katie did say before she left on maternity leave that she just really likes working on this with us, and the feeling is mutual. It's been really fun to develop this over the last 2 years. And we're also partnering with the school district, and that's really cool to bring this into the schools like that. So, Skylar's doing a tremendous job on it. She'll tell you more about it in a minute. And I just completed judging on this year's John Cotton Dana Awards. I've done that for the last 3 years since we won the John Cotton Dana in 2019. And every year we give $80,000 to the winners, and it's a really rewarding process. And so we just finished that judging this year. And this year the awards will be actually delivered in person. Since the last 2 years we haven't been able to do that, so that's kind of a fun accomplishment. An opening campaign for Central has begun. So as Andrew mentioned, we'll be doing the ribbon cutting ceremony on July 11th, starting to get the word out that we're opening. And if you've been by the Central Library lately, we put out some flags in the grass. So we got those out by May 1st so that everybody doing Bloomsday could see those flags. And so that's been the exciting first step. And then we'll have more campaign elements coming soon for that. And we'll have a preview of the full-scale campaign that we'll be doing for that next month. And we relaunched our Welcome campaign series as well. And I included images of that. Alina really worked to update all of the content in that and update it to our new branding. So those are what's triggered when you sign up for a new library card. You'll get that welcome series, you'll welcome email that first day when you sign up for a library card. And then 2 days later, you get another one that kind of has more, it talks about more than books, all the different things that we have here at the library. And then the last one that you get, I think 5 days after that, is streaming and downloading. So sign up for your digital. So it's kind of just that welcoming series, giving all the information that you need to use your library card. And then on social media, you'll see that I updated the format of the reporting just in these reports here so you can more easily see progress over the past few months. But our top content last month was a post about our Library of Things musical instruments with Jordan Hilker, who is the manager here. Those were really popular. Our Library of Things posts tend to be very popular in general because it's still a novelty to people. Everything we've done to let people know that that's here. It still surprises people that we have that. And earned media was minimal, but we had 2 secondary references to those art exhibits that Andrew was talking about, the Holocaust exhibit and also a stained glass exhibit that we presented stained glass at all of our locations from New Tech or On Track. Any questions for me?
Can you remind us what the John Cotton Dana Awards are?
Yeah, so the John Cotton Dana is really the ultimate award in public relations for libraries. And it's presented with E.W. Wilson and EBSCO. They fund the awards, and it's a national or an international award, but mostly US based award where it's for PR campaigns in libraries. And we won for our work we won in 2019 for our work on the 2018 bond information only campaign.
Questions for Amanda? Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. All right, now moving on to new business, we have the 24/7 library kiosk update. Paul?
Good to see you all again. Because these slides have some detail on it, I made a little packet for each one of you. It's a little hard to see. It's a little map. Let's go ahead and bring it up. Look. So what we'll be doing is we're going to be showing the slides, just 4 slides to talk about the library kiosks. These are the 2nd generation, a new form of technology from MK, it's called, the same company that's supplying our automatic material handling equipment. And I'm quite excited to be able to see those slides up there. So let's go to page 2 if we can. We'll just keep things rolling. The MK kiosk, I remember I was sitting with Mr. Kirshner once and he said, what's the size of this thing? What are the dimensions? And so the dimensions will be here for the exterior model. There we go. Okay. Let's go backwards. Good. Go ahead. Yeah, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about the kiosk, what the size is. And the dimension, basically, it's the size of a large vending machine. But the outdoor unit is what we're going to be planning to do. And it is about 9 by 4 by 7 feet. So that's a good look at it. If you see it has a cover on it, and they do have some special requirements. Let's go to the next slide. So it's important as we look about these kiosks, both the purpose, what they can and they can't do. And also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the excitement of finding locations for these, because they have some requirements. Number one, the purpose is to provide a convenient location for quickly picking up library materials. It's not a substitute for a library, but it's an extension of the library. Basically, and you'll hear me talk about what we call a library shadow or a library desert. We studied demographics and geography pretty closely in Spokane to find the seams in our coverage. And I'll show you that in the next slide. The other thing is, we can stay here for a second. Okay. The one thing we want to talk about is it's also going to be generating traffic. It's going to be a very positive activity for certain sites. And there's some serendipity that I'm going to talk about later on, where we might go to a site that we thought was a standard site, but we discovered something else. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But here's what they don't do. They're not going to be increasing library card usage. People are not going to get a library card out of this itself, but it's going to be an idea that they would go to the library branch, like a stimulus to go to the branch and engage with us. And they're not going to draw heavy traffic, but they're going to basically be a supplement to the site that we go to. Now, the locations, I've spent the last 6 months scouting, and I go to all different kinds of places. I've been with the neighborhood council folks up in Shiloh Hills. They've taken me to 3 or 4 different sites. They're very excited. The one place they took me to, the first one was a bowling alley parking lot. And there's also other sites, but we're going to talk a little bit about the reasoning we're putting them. I've been to church parking lots. I've been to tool equipment supply companies. I've been to toured Eagle Ridge, almost every block of Eagle Ridge. So I've been everywhere. And they probably recognize my car. And I'm the guy that talks to folks about, hey, we're going to put this library in here. So it's been a lot of fun. Now there's requirements though. We need internet. We need electrical power from our partner. We do need it to be sheltered. I'm not going to be put it in the middle of a snowfield somewhere where people can't get to. So a high traffic zone is quite important. Go ahead to the next slide. So this is the part I wanted to really talk about is the opportunity areas. I'm not sure if you can see that. You can see that on your next slide. But the fact is we had some really great work done by Shiloh Dietz. And she mapped every site of every library. And I'll explain what these bubbles are. These bubbles are taking over Spokane, okay? But we're also showing 2 libraries that are not in our system. North Spokane Library up in the far north, obviously, Moran Prairie down in the south. And the blue picture, or the purplish on this slide, is 50% of all of our library users live in that circle. 75% live in the larger green area, including the blue. And so what we wanted to show you is, as we did a lot of research, we looked at the districts. District 1, which is up Shiloh Hills, northeast area, north of Hilliard. Has anybody been up there recently to see all that growth up there? Near Winco and North Nevada, about 15,000 people live in that area with very few city services. And District 2, or District 3, excuse me, on there is the shoulder zone, basically a traffic area on the way out of the county. Basically Assembly Road, you know, out to Sunset Hills in that area out there. That's a very high traffic zone for folks coming and going. And then District 2, the 2 sites that I researched, which is Sunset Hills, or excuse me, West Plains, the Oregon West Plains, and then Eagle Ridge. A lot of people don't realize Eagle Ridge is part of the city government. It's part of the Spokane City area. Also very large population up there for its size. So I scouted these areas, and you can see WC on there means West Central Community Center, the 24/7 there. And the rest are the initials of our different branches, including the I. But you can see there are some seams there, some open areas that we identified. Let's go ahead to the next slide. And what I wanted to do is show you the locations that I've earmarked that we're actually in negotiations with to place. If you go to that last slide. It's very hard to put them precisely on the map, but the first one, Yokes Market at Lake Tahoe Valley, they've cooperated with us very well. It's a very high traffic area, lovely sheltered area for them to put that machine in, and they're very welcoming to us. One of the best partners. So that's that red star at the bottom. Albertsons at Shiloh Hills, Francis in North Nevada, one of the busiest grocery stores in the region, just jamming there. And so that we have to go through a number of layers because not just Albertsons, it's Safeway that owns Albertsons. So we're going to be working on that. We've already had a team there visiting and working on the technical part. The other one that we've come across is the Blue Star, VA Medical Center, Man Grandstaff Center, which you may not think is a place for a library, but their outpatient facility, they have a large senior citizens home there. They need something for their folks to use every day. They also have over 40,000 veterans in this region that they serve all across the area. I learned that Indigenous veterans, it's one of the largest concentrations of Native American veterans in the nation. So we have a chance to fulfill our DEI mission there as well. So that one we were working on, they've been a little excited because of their medical records issue. If you've seen, anybody's seen the news. So I do a lot of work with them in liaison just to make sure that we're in close contact with them. But the final one is the serendipitous one we're talking about. A discovery that was really pleasant to see how we could serve an educational community and fulfill our mission of social services as well. Gonzaga Family Haven. It is the largest apartment complex for transitional families out of homelessness with children in the entire region. And it's built by Catholic Charities. I came upon it when I was scouting around Yasuhara Middle School, see what we might do there. But Logan neighborhood is actually in a library shadow. It's just far enough from all of our different sites that it kind of exists in a place where we don't have great services. So we're working with Gonzaga Family Haven to place a library kiosk there, which will be open to the general public. It'll be just a half block away from Yasuhara Middle School and 2 blocks away from Gonzaga Prep. So, and if you know that Foothills Drive and North Nevada, Hamilton, it is a busy place too. And through there is a trail that will be running like one of the public trails. So they're very open about having us there as well. So that's kind of a thought. There's an intention to every move here. And I've done more driving than I need to do probably this year. Is there any questions from the board?
Our existing kiosk, are we gonna keep that?
Yeah, we're keeping that. It's working right now. One of the things that we worked on there is holds were a big complicator there. Basically clogged up the system. So we'll use it as a dispensing, but we want people right now until we can open up in September, all of our items. We want to make sure that we're not going to be introducing holds there until mid-fall or so.
Well, that was my second question. Eventually then, when I put a hold on a booking, when I can select one of these kiosks.
Yes. And these are self-contained. They hold a large number of books. I can't remember the exact amount, but they are like a magazine. You put them in and we'll service them and they'll automatically report what we need to fill them with every time back to our office.
So if you put a hold on a book, it will go transported to the kiosk, and then I can just go and
Plug it in, yeah. But the other technology from West Central is a different company. We had a briefing from MK. They're very sophisticated German company. So we're very excited about them. It's even climate controlled inside of their unit, so we don't have damage to books.
have we given any thought to replacing the old kiosks with one of these, assuming that they?
Yeah, we want to see how these work first before jumping that. The other benefit of these is that there's not that glass you see on the old one, which got damaged, and with the glass shortage, that put the machine down for what, 6 months, 8 months. And then it developed. Yeah, we have a lot more confidence in these. The technology's developed.
We're already getting inquiries. Laramie, Wyoming just asked me this morning, can you give us some guidance on how you're using your machines? So I think we'll be on the radar screen as we introduce these and get the technology working.
How often are they, would you anticipate they'll be serviced or renewed?
It depends on the traffic volume there, but we'll be looking at them. That's part of our outreach plan, is to make sure we're always tending to these. Because we don't want these to be down. We want them to be used, and each one will be a different collection. Like at the VA hospital, they actually have an archivist librarian there that wants very much to cooperate with us about the collection in there. And at the children's area, the Gonzaga Family Haven, I would work with youth services to make sure we're making a very good collection.
All right, thanks, Bob. Okay, now we have customer self-service solutions. Contract amendment.
Yeah, kind of a coincidence that we just did that location presentation. We are asking for an amendment to our contract with MK Solutions to allow for us to purchase 4 kiosks. We've already got the board approval to do those first 3. That was part of the bond allocation. 3 or more kiosks. So we're asking for this 4th one now to be part of that contract. And it would be in an amount not to exceed $235,000 for this dispenser.
This comes out of the capital, the bond
Yes.
budget. So I'll ask the obvious question. Penny, again, I guess, is can we afford to do this?
Yes, we can. Jim, I announced, I think last month, that we got our E-rate reimbursement. So that replenished our technology budget. And right now we've got, before this amendment would be passed, we've got $471,000 available in our AMH remaining budget and another $274 in our technology. So we're well positioned to do this for our public.
And that's how much one of these costs is $235.
$235, not to exceed. There's some installation costs as well. I think that the machine itself is $180. 5 or so, but by the time they do the installation and the training, service contract.
I'd like to add that these installation for the kiosks they'll each at each site be its own public works job, because there will be likely electrical, electrician and work involved if it requires a concrete pad, for instance. The estimates that I'm hearing from Integris, depending upon the site, is it could be 20,000 to 50. So again, we are covered in our budget to handle that. Our technology, for the most part, has been purchased already, and when I say those budget amounts, that's budgets remaining. That's after what's right now been purchased and encumbered at this time.
It's also, in case you're wondering, there's about at least a 6-month lead time. So it's pretty significant.
Any other questions? Okay, I entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the execution of amendment number 3 with MK Solutions for the purchase of an additional wine dispenser and related software in the amount do not exceed $235,000.
I second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, and now we have a presentation on summer reading.
I'm greatly appreciative of your patience while we navigate this. It's been a process, but I think we're doing okay. Anyway, I am very excited to talk to you about summer reading. As you can see, I have 2021's Teen Summer Boredom Buster and the Spokane Somersault magazine. It'll be the same format as this year, but I'll talk about that more in a second. So I have 3 slides to talk about summer reading. So historically, Spokane Public Library has participated in summer reading annually. We do this and everyone is very excited every year to participate. We host a way to track your reading. We host fun events. We host badge opportunities and we offer a free prize book annually. So this is something we've done for as long as I've known. I actually don't know how long we've done this, but it's been years. However, in 2020, we noticed that numbers started to dip a little bit and we noticed that people were online more. So we tried to cater an online experience. Of course, with everybody being online, there was probably some virtual fatigue. As a result, we saw that number start to dip. So in 2021, we decided to reinvigorate summer reading a little bit with the debut of 2 summer reading magazines, as you can see there. So both of these magazines, Amanda, would you mind? Yes. So this was last year's summer reading campaign. We had badges, we offered stickers, we had the magazines that we sent out to schools, we sent them out to businesses, and we passed them out just anytime someone was checking out books. They were all over the city, which is amazing. With these pieces, it is an encouragement to keep the minds active of students in the Spokane area. We want to keep students engaged during this time over the summer. So we are once again hosting, So we're happy to have summer reading again this year. So this year we're doing the magazines again. These are the covers with even more great activities and ability to track your reading than ever before. This year we have a variety of gardening tips, book recommendations. We have book bingo. We are hosting a bookmark contest, so you can color in a bookmark, and we might choose yours at the end of summer to print and have on demand for the fall season. And we're really excited to be doing this again. Summer reading will be taking place from June 1st to September 15th this year. We decided to expand it a little bit more. And I'm happy to say that we have the agreement of 20 schools to put these in school libraries. So I will be making personal deliveries all around the area to various middle schools and elementary schools and a few high schools to put these in the libraries, which is really amazing. And we even have some really great programs this year. We weren't able to host in-person programming last year, but this year we're hosting a pollinator party, launch it programs, and for teens, we have escape rooms and Nerf war battles. So that'll be really fun to offer this year. Anyway, so you can sign up for summer reading starting June 1st at spl.northwestreads.org, and we do have more information online at spokenlibrary.org. So that's just kind of my overview of summer reading. There's a lot more that we have to offer, but I'm going to open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Go ahead.
Just a comment, just wanted to give credit to Friends of the Library and Spokane Public Library Foundation for sponsoring some of the magazine costs.
Yes, thank you.
That was what my question.
Yes. Thanks, Andrew. Any other questions?
Looks fantastic.
Yeah, excited about it.
I'll bring some next time so we can share them with you in person because they're really great. We're very excited. They will be printed in 2 weeks. So we're excited to pass them out again.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, and now we have the consideration process update. Karis.
Right. So back in March, Rob Bruce spoke to you about intellectual freedom in our approach to material reconsideration. And he promised you a follow-up update, a couple of different things. One was that we were going to review the policies to make sure that we had a good, solid understanding of who the ultimate responsible party was for reconsideration. And based on our existing collection development policy, that is Andrew. So we're clear there. The second part was that we were going to update our request for reconsideration form to be a more general comment form. And that's what I've given you here today, so you can see what that looks like. This form expands beyond just books so that we can allow customers to comment on any types of materials or displays that they might encounter in the library. So this was just an informational follow-up to close the loop on that conversation so that you can feel confident that any reconsiderations in the future will be appropriately handled. Any questions?
And then where does this go once it's submitted? There's a committee that.
So when that is submitted, it gets sent, and Rob puts together a committee of librarians to evaluate the resource and make a recommendation, at which point a written response is mailed to the person who submitted the form.
The committee makes the final recommendation?
The committee makes the
decision,
final.
Or do you make?
The committee, so Andrew defers to the committee to do the evaluation. And it's typically the committee that.
It shouldn't be a voice of one or, under the one. So we'd like to have that diversity of eyes. Importantly as well, the board did make the change in policy in 2016 to delegate that authority to the library. You see maybe possibly in Liberty Lake, that's where if the customer went to the board, they argued that, and then it went to city council. I can't recommend more that you want to keep this in not political as possible, so keep that under the professionalism of the librarians.
I like this one. I like the form.
I especially like, have you read, watched, listened to the entire material? Because I think there's a lot of knee jerk and piling on some of the materials or programs that people object to. So I think that's a really good question to ask on this.
And are you a resident of the city of Spokane?
Yeah.
Which is another issue.
Yeah, there's a couple of steps that Rob took in creating this form just to insulate us from some of the things we're seeing across the country, like online attacks, where if the form in question is available on the library's website, just hundreds of people from out-of-state areas will fill it out and just kind of inundate them with those requests. So these forms will be available just in physical copies. So you'll have to come in and chat with our staff to discuss the issue. And if we're not able to resolve it, then you can submit this form for reconsideration.
And just given what is happening throughout the country, we just felt it was really important to read more on this and refresh everyone. And take another look at ourselves. So it's been a good experience, I think.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Karis. All right, and now we have staff association event, library early closure. Now,
I think I can be brief. We're just asking to close early so we can get staff together and do a sneak peek, which I think I heard Amanda called it, for all of our staff to go to the central library. I believe you've all had a chance to visit it. If you haven't had a chance to visit, please do so. It's amazing. And so we want to make sure that all our staff really get a chance to spend some time. But in addition to that, get all of our staff to spend some time together. For the last couple of years, we haven't been able to do that. And typically we try to get that done at staff day, which we also close for the first half of the day to get that done. We're choosing the second half of the day just so we're inviting families as well. We'd like everybody to come and get a chance to see Central. So that includes both our staff as well as significant members of their families to come.
And their board members.
And our board members. So everybody's invited. There's going to be special activities and an opportunity to do a lot of bonding and talking. We also have, we're trying to take an opportunity to revive an organization that our staff generates it has been called Staff Association. And so we'd like to have an opportunity to reintroduce that chance again and get staff to get generated and show a little bit of excitement, enthusiasm, and joy. So we're asking for your permission to close early. And the exact day escapes me.
June 15th.
And the exact time, that's 5:30.
And those are those normally self-service hours?
Not quite, but they start at 6, or are we?
Started at 5.
5. All right.
That's, yeah, so I mean, it'll be closed for everything, including self-service.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
To give everyone a chance.
Trust me, we'll do significant communication and signage.
I do have a question. The staff association, I'm not familiar with what that is, or I forgot.
Yeah, so this is a group, it's been dormant. Get a couple of retirees that they mostly led it in the past. They would do things like recognize birthdays and anniversaries and things like that, and they would have an occasional gathering. So this is an effort to help revive that and see if there's interest, really in that opportunity.
So it's social. It's
It
a
is.
social. Okay.
And it includes former, like retirees.
It's not operated by the library or anyone in leadership. It's completely grassroots from the staff. So in the past, it certainly has. We won't have any ability to dictate what to do in the future, but there is some leftover funding from past years, and there are some staff who have been trying to carry the burden for this for quite some time. But over the last several years, we've had a lot of staff retirements. And so the historical element of how Staff Association operated and what it did to support our staff has been lost a little bit. And so we wanted to highlight it and give it an opportunity, to breathe some life into it, while at the same time trying to make sure that we're not putting our thumb on it and saying, this is how we want it to be done. It's not ours. It's up to the staff.
So it's just an opportunity.
Yes.
For maybe newer staff members to learn that there is such a social association.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Am I explaining that well? Yeah.
I do want to point out really quick.
And
the
it
funding
was based
dimension.
on membership to join staff association, full-time was a specific dollar amount, part-time was a specific dollar amount. And those money is paid for birthday cards, retirement parties. And acknowledging staff.
And I wanted to just add a comment on that really quick. The funding is not library funding.
I know I took this totally off track, but I just want to
No, that's
understand
good to
what it
clarify.
was. And so I'm going to move to approve the early library closure at 5 PM on Wednesday, June 15th for staff association event.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
It's very exciting. Okay, all right, motion passes. And with that, are there any additional items we should cover in the agenda? No? All right, and then do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
No.
All right, our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, June 14th at the Liberty Park Library. And there's no executive session today. So with that, I'm going to call the meeting adjourned.
thank you. So